What's up, guys? D-Dub's Garage. On this one, we're doing upgraded motor mounts on a 2014 Fiesta ST.
Alright guys, it's going in the car here, some Technic mounts from Whoosh Motorsports. They're the street or race spec edition with an ARP motor mount bolt. Don't think we're going to use, but if we do, we'll show you.
Alright guys, so basically whenever you're lifting a motor to do the mounts, sometimes you get unlucky and it actually has a stamped steel sump. Never lift from that with the jack because the jack will just punch right through it and then you need a new oil pan. This one we're lucky because it's thick cast aluminum. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a piece of wood here. And then you never want to go crazy, you just want to support the engine. But what we're going to do, let's see, we got a bit of a gap here to fill, is we're just going to jack it up. And this wood really helps because it kind of disperses the load. So get it, basically you want to get it on there so you can see the engine start to lift up just a tiny bit. And that's pretty much it, guys. You don't want to go nuts. It's just so that when you pull the mount, it doesn't just drop out on you. So now that the motor's supported, we're going to go ahead and get the stuff out of the way and get the mount out of there. On the passenger side is what you start with. So let's do it. So first things first, guys. We already pulled the two T30 Torx out of here. And then there's just one little clip. So just got to pull the headlight out. These just kind of scared me the first time, but you just have to lift it up because it snaps into place, and then pull it backward a little, and then obviously just get that connector with your thumb. Sometimes they fight you a little, so this is the best tool ever for this. There it goes. Sometimes it'll fight you, but there's step one done. And put this in a place where you're not gonna mess it up. So something that helps with these, it might not actually do it now that I'm saying it, but if it's sticking on you, sometimes you can actually twist the hose and it'll try, but it's fighting me, so I'm just gonna use my pocket screwdriver and then boom, see that, how it twisted? What we're running into here is we're gonna try to save as much coolant as we can. Oh, cue wind, right? So basically I was gonna try to just pull the two top hoses and then lean it over so it's out of the way. But we're running into an issue where there's another hose down on the bottom. So there's another 8 mil right here on this, basically, I don't even know what to call this actually, it's just like some kind of connector for the coolant system. But I'm going to pull this 8, and then the connector, it may be a temp sensor, and then we'll see if we can still kind of just rock it out of the way and maybe save some of the coolant. Alright guys, so we basically have the motor mount exposed here, which is great, plenty of room. Obviously just be careful of your AC line. We're going to use a crazy amount of WD-40 because I'm almost positive just looking at these. They're probably original. We're going to start with this one. See if I can crack it loose.
What size is that?
Oh yeah, it's a 18 millimeter socket. I have an impact socket on it just because I'm really going to be ripping on this thing. Here we go. Oh, I think that was too easy. I think the whole thing's rotating, guys. So
you need a wrench.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to actually leave that, change of plans. We're going to leave the middle one, and we're just going to see if we can pull the whole mount out by itself. So we'll start with the top here. Again, just be careful of that AC line. Drop that 18 on there. Here we go. Oh, like butter. This isn't even a long half-inch socket or half-inch ratchet. It's the shorter one I got from Snap-on. But that was plenty. So we'll go ahead and zip the rest of these off. So we got the top 3 out. So next we're going to go to the bottom 3. We got the light on the camera here so you can see them. They are rusted, but these are 15s. So we're going to use our big ass ratchet, as I like to call it, and a 15 mil socket, and we're going to see if we can crack those off either. The head of it's so rusted that we're going to have to tap the socket on it. So, every tool's a hammer. right, so that was the last 15. These were actually surprisingly easy to crack loose, guys. Just, you could even, honestly, I could have done that with a 3/8 ratchet. And I'm not just trying to say I'm a beast or whatever. It's literally, they were just easy. You can see, because we have the engine supported, go straight out. So we got the old mount and the vise here, guys. The only thing you got to reuse to basically adapt it to the new Vibro ones is you need the old aluminum top piece that goes on the engine. So on this new one, the bolt actually goes all the way through, but I can't see a head of a bolt on the bottom of this one. So we're gonna try to just zip this thing out. Obviously, it's gonna try to rotate on you. So I'm actually gonna do something here that hopefully you guys can do at home. I'm gonna go to the gun. So we'll see if we can zip it out. Here goes nothing. That was it, guys. So why that's so difficult with the ratchet is because you're not spinning it quickly. So basically it just tries to rotate the rubber on the inside, and it's really hard to actually get the bolt out. But you can see if you were doing stock mounts, that's what that ARP bolt was for. Here, get a better view of that for you guys. So we don't actually need this because the new mount comes with, like I said, a nice stainless bolt that goes all the way through. So we're not going to need that ARP bolt, but who knows, maybe I'll put it on one of my motorcycles if Grayson will let me. So, yeah, we got the mount off there, so that's great. So now all there's left to do is put this one in the car. Basically, good rule of thumb is get all the bolts and nuts started. Get them all sort of started on there. Then you tighten them up. You never want to tighten one down because then you might have to rotate this a tiny bit or move it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and get it in the car. So guys, I forgot the washer. So we just pulled it apart. Just got to go right there. And then obviously start the nut on there. Simple, but that was just a little mistake. So we got our torque wrench out, guys. The 15 millimeter heads. We're going to do the 35 foot-pounds. That's it. There's one. And again, all the bolts are started, so we don't have to worry about moving the engine. You can hear that click. There's 35 there. 35. All right. So keep that rolling. We're going to do the top ones as well. This new nut that comes with this Vibratechnics mount, it's a 19. So go ahead and do the 19. These all get 60 foot-pounds. So put that on my setting. This is the twist type. There's 60 right there. Tighten my lock. Boom, 60 foot-pounds. Get these last three. Oh, there goes my socket. So guys, on this next one, you basically have to get the airbox and battery tray out of the way. So obviously that means pulling the battery as well. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. Just make sure you take your time, get all the hoses out of the way, and make sure you're not crunching anything on the way out. But we're going to do time lapse on this because I believe in you guys, you can do it. And then we'll get a nice shot of the mount once we start pulling it. All right, so we got the battery box out of the way. Grayson's just kind of holding it. This is his car, so I'm helping him work on it. You can see how rusty those 10s are holding this thing on. So we got lucky on the one side. Maybe we'll get lucky over here too. Hopefully they don't break. But if they do, I might have some 10s lying around, and it looks like the new mount just has studs on it. So let's see if we can zip these off, and we'll get that second mount out, and then back together, drive this thing. Oh! No way. No way. It's moving. there's one. You can see just how crusty that was. Jeez, it's hot because there's so much friction for pulling it. So I'm just gonna leave that there for now. We'll wipe it off. I'm thinking it's just these 3 nuts because that's what's on the new bracket. So that one looks easy. For some reason, that one's totally fine. But we're gonna go to this other one. You can see I kind of have to work it on there. It's a 10 mil socket. So the classic 10 mil guys, try not to drop it. Just sort of work it on there, and here we go. Wow, that thing is like nuclear hot right now for me doing that. Oh, there it is. Came off with the socket. All right, guys. So we got the there goes the ECU. We got the bracket out of the way. You can see the old mount in all of its glory. So really, all we got to do is same thing. Those look like 18s. I'll find out. And those, I'm almost positive, are 15s. So same thing. Super simple. Get that big extension, that big ratchet. Zip it off of there, and then we'll put the new one in. So it's really just a matter of getting down to it. That's a bit of a pain, but you guys can do it. Just take your time. All right, so we got all the nuts and bolts off, guys. And obviously the trans side is now supported. Simple as that. Comes right out. So here's the new one, guys. It's gonna be just as simple as the other side. You see? Drops right into place. Simple as that. So on this one, for some reason, this side, the nuts aren't nylock, so we use a little bit of Loctite on those as well. And then obviously you guys will see when we torque them down, but that's it. We're gonna torque them down, put everything back together, and then see how it drives. So for the nuts, guys, the 18 mils, we're gonna torque them to 92 foot-pounds. So it's gonna be a little more than the other side. There's that one. 2. Boom. All right. And you guys will see in a second that here's if you want to get a good view of that. I put a little bit of grease on the studs because the nuts coming off were insanely rusty. But somehow they moved. So just a little precaution there if we ever need to get back in here. God forbid, but you never know. So
How much are these on?
So I'm just getting it on there. These are going to be torqued to the 15 mil ones, so there's 2 of them on this side. 66 foot-pounds. So just nodding because Grayson looked that up online to make sure. But here we go. There's one. That's the hard one to get to, so this one should be nice and easy down here. Here, boom. All right, we are tight, all Loctited up. Won't need this again. So obviously same thing we did on the other side, guys. I'm just going to do the reverse of the removal. We'll get it all back together, and then hopefully see a bit of an improvement. So they're in. It's done. It's almost a shame on these Fiestas. You do a lot of mods, you almost can't see them. Like we did a nice mount and radiator. You can barely see it. But yeah, new mounts are in. I'm gonna have Grayson start and make sure we didn't forget to plug anything in. And then if we didn't forget, next thing you guys will see is us driving it. All right.